A ruckus broke out today, and right, we gotta shine a light on these situations, right? We always gotta shine a light on everything that is a violation, right? Gets tense, right? Um, Life gets tense. Hello, everyone. My name is Celso Garcia, live from New York City, um, broadcasting on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, Substack, and TikTok, right? With just the craziness, and we see how bad it could get, right? We see how bad things can get. Let's watch this video. You tell me what you think. You tell me what you think. How bad it could get, right? How bad it could get when the police are called, and instead of helping the situation, they become aggressive, right? They become aggressive, and instead of helping the situation, they are not trained properly. Um, they're just ready to jump on people and start knocking people down, start um, getting people upset. As a person that grew up in the city and grew up in New York City, I've seen the aggression of of the New York City Police Department, right? And so I'm not gonna say every officer is aggressive, but some can be highly aggressive and angry, and and get upset easily because of the things that the frustrations of their job, right? The frustration of their job, they get upset, right? And so oftentimes they take out those frustrations on the public or the people they deal with, right? Um, and I'm saying, and I'm not saying that it's an easy job. I'm saying that it's not something that everyone can do. You have to have a certain perspective, a certain point of view about the world to do that job, right? You have to be able to follow orders and do things the way you're told to do things, right? Right? And you're told how to do things, and and that's it, right? No one can tell you you don't want to be told how to do your job. You just taught to be aggressive and to be a defender instead of mediating and speaking to people and trying to get things solved, right? So this is a video that Chi Osse posted on his um, X account, and it's both bizarre and concerning, right? We have a Democratic Socialist mayor, but he's in charge of the police department. But just because he's in charge of the police department does not mean that he's well received, right? That they do everything that he tells them to do. This is one of his allies, one of the mayor's friends, and they roughed him up, right? They roughed him up pretty bad. So let's watch him.
We're not doing anything.
What is the council member?
Yo, I'm going no. I'm gonna put it in the car. Back up, sir.
So they pretty much slammed Chi Osse to the ground, and he's a city council member in New York City, and they were very aggressive with him. And some people are saying because he's black. Other people are saying because the neighborhood, it's Bed-Stuy. It's a lot of a black neighborhood, but it has had a lot of changes in the neighborhood, right? A lot of gentrification, a lot of people moving in that did not live in the neighborhood previously, right? A lot of people from out of town, a lot of people moving in, and the neighborhood has changed. But the prices of property have gone up drastically, right? In the past, this was an area that had a lot of crime, but the crime has subsisted, and the property values have gone up. Especially the brownstones. Brownstones are nice, right? Because these brownstones are like the ones you used to see in the Cosby Show, in Sesame Street, um, and these are beautiful brownstones, right? That it's like having several apartments in one, right? They're huge houses inside, and most of them have backyards. This is the way they used to be built, right? They have high ceilings. They have when you restore them and you rebuilt them, they're definitely worth your while, right? They're definitely worth your while. So they're hot in the market, and so what's happening here is that there's been accusations that the property did not belong to the people that they claimed they belonged to, right? So I don't know the details of the case, but what I know is that they've been claiming that right? They've been claiming that they've been taking over people's property without authorization, right? So there's a coalition that has been speaking out against all the things that are happening. Especially, they've been targeting black homeowners. I've heard that they've been targeting those that don't speak English or speak English well, immigrants. They've been targeting anyone that that they feel could be easily um, duped, right? Espe- Especially the elderly, right? And you know why they've been targeting the elderly? Because the elderly can be tricked to sign papers, to uh, forget to pay bills, to take out a reverse mortgage, not understand how it works, and then be targeted, right? So That's the problem, right? That's the problem. So a lot of people upset about it, the way he was slammed to the ground. And it's just a reality that when we live in the neighborhoods we live in, we so this is the story about what happened, right? This is the story about what happened, right? So let's play it back.
Carmela Charrington was sent to Rikers Island for fighting to keep her home due to deed theft, which is a pervasive issue in New York City.
They gave me a letter for 10 days and told me I had 10 days to move.
That's what Carmela Charrington says happened to her in January. She learned a family member sold the property partially owned by her father and maintained by her family.
I went to the district attorney. I went to everyone like, hey, there's some fraud here. These people are not the owners of these properties.
Carmela soon learned that she is not alone in this fight.
I sit out here with my son that says, stop stealing our brownstones now. Every day someone is talking to me about it.
According to the New York City Sheriff's Office, more than 1,500 Brooklynites have reported deed theft over the past decade.
Black families survived redlining. We survived divestment. We built wealth anyway, brick by brick, generation by generation. And now someone is stealing it, literally. It's called deed theft, and the system usually built to work against us is doing exactly what it was designed to do. Own your home. Maybe you owned it for decades. Maybe your parents left it to you. The mortgage is paid off or close to it. That home is your family's equity and your generational wealth. A scammer shows up. Sometimes it's a stranger. Sometimes it's someone from your church. Sometimes it's a lawyer. They present paperwork, a loan modification, a refinancing agreement, a routine form you sign. What you didn't know is that buried in that stack of paperwork was a deed transfer. Your home now belongs to them. But by the time you figure out what happened, they've already moved to sell it.
Deed theft, where homeowners are essentially
deed theft is something that
are essentially tricked out of their properties, has been a pervasive problem for a few years now. And now this group is rallying outside the governor's office, demanding that she do something about it.
My father and I worked really hard. We scraped and we saved and we purchased our home legally and legitimately.
Rachel Cyprian was shaking mad as she spoke with us outside the governor's office about the devastating impact of her 15-year fight to reclaim ownership of her Brooklyn home following deed theft.
It leads to homelessness. It leads to depression. It leads to all sorts of failures. Here we are, Black people, in this country now for over 400 years.
So people's properties being taken. So Chi Osse was out there protesting and speaking up on the issue of deed theft. And the New York Police Department was assisting in the eviction, and the sheriff's department was also assisting in the whole situation. And so so this is the organization that is helping people. So this is what they say. The Brooklyn foreclosure courts are a trading floor for Black and Brown generational equity. Let me repeat. The Brooklyn foreclosure courts are a trading floor for Black and Brown generational equity. I pray that statement stays with you as it has stayed with me, because it is the truth. Ray Cortez. Homeowners United, the People's Coalition to Stop Deed Theft. Are you or someone you know a victim of deed theft? Sham mortgages, sham foreclosures, sham referee deeds, sham landlord tenant evictions, and the cycle. Stop deed theft. So pretty much they take people's homes, have them sign over their papers, claiming they're gonna help them with their home or refinance the home, and then they have them sign over their deed over to them, and uh, and then the property becomes they become the owners of the property, right? And so this is what Chi Osse was fighting against, right? This is what Chi Osse was fighting against. Um, there's a lot of people that have been fighting this battle to stop deed theft across the city, right? It hasn't been that easy, right? It hasn't been that easy to stop it, right? So, and so this is the press conference that they had. So, so this was breaking news earlier. Let's watch it. Um, when he was released from the precinct. So people are trying to understand, why is the police department involved in this case, right? People are trying to understand, why is the police department involved in this case, right? So
after working with the People's Coalition to stop deed theft, to pressure the governor to do right by the people of New York and do right by Black homeowners and keeping them in their home. The governor bailed on our meeting. So I stand here today after being arrested for trying to prevent something that the head of the state, the governor, could have prevented in advocating for her to implement an eviction moratorium. And while I am okay, and while I was able to get out quicker than many of the other folks who were arrested today, imagine what's happening to New Yorkers who aren't elected officials. Imagine what's happening to black seniors who are being ripped from their homes when there aren't cameras watching them. Imagine what's happening to them. I was pressed down on the concrete today while cameras were out. If it can happen to me, it can happen to many, many, many New Yorkers, most especially black New Yorkers and senior New Yorkers who have been advocating for years for deed theft to end. So I stand here alongside my comrades from the People's Coalition to Stop Deed Theft. Our elected officials, our head of state need to do right by us and putting an end to black displacement in Brooklyn, for putting an end to gentrification here in New York City. Enough is enough. So I know there are some colleagues of mine who are here to speak. I do want to thank the Speaker of the City Council for coming out, and I want to pass the mic to her before passing it to some advocates as well as the rest of my colleagues in the council.
Councilman, before you go, could you talk about your arrest, and could you tell us, it seemed like you were treated pretty roughly by the police officers. Right. Could you talk about that?
I was certainly treated
Hello.
treated rough by the police officers.
Chi Osse was roughed up today
standing in front of the home
by the police.
And, you know, there's a mix of details that's going on today, and I'm sorry if I'm a little spacey. My head hit the pavement pretty hard today. But the marshal showed up at 8 a.m. saying that he was going to proceed with an eviction. And then what I was told a little bit later from the sergeant and someone else was that the police were coming to look for Ms. Charrington's father. So there was a mix-up of details today. And I wanted to do my job as the representative for Ms. Charrington to just stand and observe and to make sure that you know there was no violent eviction that was taking place. And I did not attack an officer. I did not, you know, my hands were visible to the officers. And you know, I was manhandled by 3 men. It takes a lot to lift me off the ground, but they were able to do so. They slammed me against the concrete. You know, I believe there was a knee on my back at some point. When I was in the cop car, the driver was driving very aggressively, taking sharp turns. Had no seatbelt on in the car, and I did hit the car door several times on my way over to the precinct.
Did you get hurt? So you said your head hit the pavement.
I'm still waiting. I did ask officers to have an EMS evaluation. I think that was something that we spoke about before I came out, but I still not have had the EMS.
Do you feel dizzy? Did you hurt your head hit the pavement?
My face is sore, and I do feel a little loopy and dizzy. Yes.
What do you think should happen to the officers? Like, was there any conversation? Help us understand how it devolved into that.
I mean, it happened pretty quickly. I know that you know, there were several pieces of paper that were waved in front of our face, but as I said before, there was a mix of different details that we were being told by both the marshal as well as the sergeant. They said that they were there for an eviction, but then someone else was saying that they were there for her father. So there was a bit of confusion.
So they slammed him to the ground, to the concrete. Wasn't necessary. They could have just told them, hey, put your hands behind your back. We're going to arrest you for whatever reason. And they didn't need to be aggressive, right? He's a council member. He's a New York City council member. Right? Everyone hit the like, hit the share button, hit the follow button. If you're on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Substack, and Instagram. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for joining me. And this is an issue, right? That we have a system that is not equal for everyone, right? We have a legal system that doesn't treat everyone the same.
Before I was apprehended.
Right? Should this event
important to you to try and prevent Ms. Charrington from being evicted?
So Bed-Stuy saw the largest displacement of Black people than any other community within the city, and a huge reason that's taking place is because of deed theft. You know, when my grandmother was sick before she passed, she had a stroke, there were still people knocking on her door in Crown Heights asking her to sell her home. And I've been able to work with the People's Coalition to Stop Deed Theft on making noise and aiding in the advocacy that they've been doing on this issue. They have been out here for years advocating not only for themselves, but other homeowners who have had their homes stolen. And we are seeing the displacement day in and day out here in Bed-Stuy. You can see the changing of the neighborhood, and a huge reason of that is because of deed theft. And as someone who grew up in this community, it's something that I take the utmost responsibility and priority for.
Councilman, have you heard from the mayor today about your arrest?
I've just been released.
What sort of
should
accountability would you
Case,
see
right? You've
against?
been going to court hearings and stuff. Can you talk about
Chris, I
your
know
work?
you've been
I know.
asked questions.
I wondered if you can speak at all to what sort of accountability you want to see after this incident. Do you think the officers should face some sort of reprimand?
I will absolutely be filing a misconduct report.
So imagine they don't even respect council members, elected officials, um, while doing their job duties, right? This is tough to deal with. So imagine us regular people that have to deal with the police department on a regular basis and are not treated as nicely, right? Often we're not treated as nicely. Even though he was treated badly. Imagine a regular person that is not famous, a person that is not a council member. How would they treat a person like this? That's the issue. It's it's barbaric, it's bizarre, but true that okay, I see Navy Secretary John Freeland leaving immediately. So he's resigning. And the military is losing a lot of people. They're not willing to do certain things that Trump is asking for. They're not willing to jeopardize the lives of men. And so they're being pushed out, right? Bizarre. So let's keep watching the press conference.
Against the officers who slammed me on the ground. I urge the other folks who were taken into captivity to do the same. I know there are two individuals who are doing the same thing that I was doing, who have reported that they are dealing with a concussion right now. So I would hope to see that they are held accountable. I hope the police commissioner is taking a deep look on their past, on their histories, and I hope they take our complaints seriously.
Councilman, could you just talk about your closeness to Carmela? You've been involved in her case for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in.
So it's something that it's just been atrocious, right? The inequality. These are the ills of capitalism. These are the ills of the system of inequality of the poor versus the rich, where a piece of paper could take away everything that you work hard for, right? They could easily take away your livelihood just with a piece of paper. Take away your home where you lay your head with a piece of paper. So I'm glad that there's people speaking out for the elderly and the marginalized people in our community, which aren't always represented. Definitely are not always represented, um, and are taken advantage of by a lot of people. That's the problem. This is the ill of the system. These are the ills of the system. It's like when you're sick, you have the flu. You know, you gotta treat it, right? You gotta rest and you gotta heal it, and you gotta feel better, right? The same thing with greed and the legal system that protects greed and protects those people that are gonna profit off of the system. It's convenient to only do things that benefit the landlord, and they go really hard for um, the council member allegedly breaking the law. But they don't go as hard against the landlord, the owners of property that don't provide a good place to live, right? They look the other way, right? And when lawyers or other executives profit off of people that can't afford it, the system looks the other way. So he said they went to so many different government agencies, went to the state attorney general, Letitia James, went to the governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, went to the precinct, went to every other, try to get every resource possible, and still could not get questions answered as to what was going on. Right? That's the frustration, the runaround that people get. Right?
Communication with Carmela Sherrington for almost 3 years now. Carmela has gone everywhere with complaints about deed theft, from the AG's office, the DA's office, to, of course, my office. There are two individuals who are participating in deed theft when it comes to her property. It's the Mbalo brothers. They have a long history of participating.
Right?
In deed theft in the city of New York. They have yet to be held accountable for this specific case. As a city council member, I have limited power when it comes to enforcement, when it comes to deed theft. That's why a lot of what I've been doing over the past couple of years has been advocating on the behalf of my constituents who are going through it.
Tone, why should people join us on April?
Right? It's helping the people suffering through it, assisting those people that no one wants to help, right? Because there's always people that get victimized by the system, the capitalist system of greed, and that don't want to help anyone, right? There's people that don't want to help anyone. And so we have to take it upon ourselves to learn the legal system and understand that everything's not fair until you're there and you're in this situation. Then maybe you want to listen and say, maybe the system is not fair, right? Maybe the system is not fair for everyone. And this is the same person that doesn't want to tax the rich, right? This is the same person that refuses to pass a moratorium on foreclosures, right? And evictions. So they could reorganize and re-understand what's
on the
happening.
behalf of my constituents who are going through it.
It's Julie
We
Manning.
really need many of our other electeds, especially those who have enforcement powers, to truly step in and take a deeper look at this case. We need a stay on eviction for Carmilla Charrington and her family. There's a baby in that home. Yet what
And
took place
so
today was completely violent and did not even take into account that there was a young person inside that home.
What happens tomorrow with this case?
We'll take questions later. We'll pass it off to the next
speaker. I do want to pass it off to the Speaker of the City Council, some folks from the Stop Deep Theft Coalition, as well as some of my colleagues before answering more questions.
Thank you.
So Speaker Julie Menem.
Okay, thank you so much. I really want to be here today to support my colleague, Councilmember Chi Osse. When I saw the video, it's obviously of deep, deep concern. He was thrown to the ground, and as you heard,
she's the one that doesn't want to tax the rich.
Injuries. That is not acceptable. He was peacefully protesting.
Julie Manning.
I just want to say this is an issue that I know Councilmember Osse cares a lot about. We held hearings in the City Council last year, my former committee, the Consumer Protection Committee, about the issue of.
But do you care about it?
Deep theft complaints are up almost 300%.
But do you care about it?
Largely affecting the Black community, and so.
Yeah. Do you care about it?
Osse cares deeply, deeply, passionately about this issue, and he was there to express his opinion on the issue. He was peacefully protesting when this occurred. We came to the precinct immediately. I spoke to the police commissioner to ask for his immediate release, and I'm here today to support Councilmember Osse.
Speaker, should there be an investigation of his arrest?
I'm sorry?
Should there be an
I'm
investigation?
speaking to the police commissioner about this. Obviously, what I saw in the video is very, very concerning.
What did the police commissioner say about the incident? What was
She
her?
said that she's looking into it. She did not elaborate.
Wait, she said what? I'm
That
sorry.
she was looking into it. I don't have any details on what the action she's going to take.
All right, I do want to pass the mic off to Evangeline Byers, who's one of the leaders from the People's Coalition to Stop Deep Theft.
So we want to, thank you. So we want to be very clear. There needs to be a meeting with the police commissioner because the NYPD is routinely used and weaponized against homeowners for unlawful evictions. What happened today is unconscionable, but it's something that's routine. Right. And so we are asking that the police commissioner sit down with us and discuss and understand what is happening in not only in Bedford-Stuyvesant, but across the city and state as it relates to deep theft.
Sorry to interrupt, but this is important.
Across the board,
the
right?
shooter who murdered my sweet little Daniel brought a highly lethal weapon with him to my son's first.
It's happening across the board, right? So, deep theft is something that's been going on for a while, right? And no one's taking into consideration that the court system could be exploited to go against the marginalized communities, right?
Seniors. And so now there's a lot of work being done to get a handle on this situation. But as you know, progress is slow. But there are some things we can do in an immediate, and that is to send out an alert throughout or a memo or whatever it is to all precincts that they are not to participate with deed thieves and try to enforce evictions when they do not know and are not trained to read orders. They don't know if just because someone shows up to you and say that they own a home, that does not mean that they're the owner. And this happens consistently. And the 79th precinct has been culpable for this type of behavior as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then we also have the two co-chairs of the Progressive Caucus, Councilmember Tiffany Caban and Councilmember Sandy Nurse.
Good afternoon. First of all, we're really grateful.
So it's a big, huge issue, right? Where they get seniors, they scam them into signing the document and signing over their deeds to other people that claim that they're going to help them. And so they scam them and they exploit the loopholes in the legal system with lawyers and other people to help scam these elderly people. And then the system does not help them. The legal system makes it so hard for them to rectify this. And it used to be like this for identity theft, I heard, but it has gotten a little bit better, but it's still happening, right? At a massive scale, right? Still happening at a massive scale. Let's switch over from New York City politics. And the mayor also had a statement to make, right? The mayor also made a statement on this case, considering the fact that um, the person that was arrested, the council member that was arrested, is also a um, a city council member that's friends with Mayor Zora Mandani. So Mayor Zora Mandani also made a statement on this case. Let me read it to you. Um, Let me look it up real fast. Uh, he was shocked and also upset the way Chi Osse was treated, and he issued an official statement. Right? He said, "I have seen the concerning footage." Right? This is what Zora Mandani said. The statement he released. Right? And by the way, happy Earth Day. Forgot to say happy Earth Day. I have seen um, the concerning footage of Councilmember Chi Osse's arrest earlier today, and and um and, and am in touch with Commissioner Tisch about the nature of the arrest. It is a pleasure to work alongside Councilmember Chi Osse, a leader in his community and a partner in building a safer and a more affordable New York City. I am grateful he is out of custody. Right? And my response to the mayor was, it's time to hold people accountable. The Tale Two Cities is real. I have never seen them slamming down peaceful protesters in other affluent neighborhoods. The Tale Two justice systems applied unevenly is real, right? So it's real. The whole system is real of two cities, right? The Tale of Two Cities is a real system, right? Right? And of course, I'm gonna have some naysayers interfering J-Bot, which is probably a robot, interfering with the police to performing their official duties is not peaceful. Don't want to get slammed, don't break the law. Couldn't be any simpler. Great. Is that what we tell people? You don't want to get shot, you don't want to get hurt, don't deal with the police at all. Right? Stay out of the police's way. So if anything happens to you in the hands of the police, it's your fault, right? It's your fault, according to this person replying to my post, right? This was my post responding to the mayor. Um, and so um, Zoran Mandani wrote, I have seen the concerning footage of Councilmember Chi Osse's arrest earlier today, and I'm in touch with Commissioner Tisch about the nature of the arrest. It is a pleasure to work alongside Councilmember Osse, a leader in his community and a partner in building a safer and more affordable New York City. I'm grateful he's out of custody. And I said, it's time to hold people accountable. The tale of two cities is real. I have never seen them slamming down peaceful protesters in other affluent neighborhoods. The tale of two justice systems applied unevenly is real, right? Because we have an unjust system. And J-Bot responded by saying, interfering with the police, performing their official duties is not peaceful. Don't want to get slammed, don't break the law. Couldn't be any simpler. But isn't the police officer also breaking the law by aggressively slamming a peaceful protester? Isn't he breaking civil rights law? Isn't the officer breaking the law too? So you're justifying the officer breaking the law, or presumably, allegedly, or or the council member allegedly breaking the law, according to you, right? This logic doesn't make sense. This logic doesn't make sense. It's horse crap, right? How does this logic make sense? Some other people say they really want you to believe that the mayor cannot control his pick to be police commissioner. Laughing at MLFAO. Is the Western left really this stupid? Um, so so of course there's gonna be people, trolls. The boy at New York City's mayor legal counsel must have told him that Osse violated the law and it was a legal arrest, no abuse. This statement is vanilla as it gets. So I mean, there's always gonna be naysayers, haters, and people that are gonna say dumb things. This is their motto, right? Find out and F around, right? Supposedly. But how can you apply that to every situation? So that means that the police have qualified immunity. They always protected from any type of discipline. It wasn't necessary to grab the council member, slam him to the ground, slam the other two people to the ground, causing injuries. They're saying that they have concussions. And so you're telling me that that's the right thing to do? You're telling me this is the right? You see that? Slow motion, right? No, not it wasn't necessary to push him to the ground so he can hit the ground hard, right? Because people have gotten unalive by this method, right? Is that what the manual says? Trip the person, knock them on their head, and um, that's the way you get a person down to arrest them, right? Make sure you tackle them, right? Make sure you tackle a peaceful protester and be as aggressive as. And then they put their knee in his back as if he's going anywhere. Everyone knows who he is. He's a city council member, an outspoken city council member. You know? right? Come on, people. He's not going anywhere. There's not necessary to be so aggressive. You might not like him because he shows up to the precinct and shows up to community meetings and is speaking out about things that you don't want nobody to speak out against. So why not show him a little bit extra aggression, right? Um, and so this is law enforcement, right? Crashing out is our political system where some people are allowed to do this type of stuff, right? Some people are allowed to do this type of stuff while other people can't even scratch their head without getting in trouble, right? Right? Is the classic system of doing things the way you want to do things and not caring if it's just or if it's moral. It's just a system that you feel like you could just do things however you want and no one can call you out, right? And no one can call you out. So let's see. There was one more thing I wanted to show you on the topic, but let's talk about some more news, right? Some more news, right? So this is the response, right? So this is Bob Bolbert, a Republican, right? We talk about, police misconduct, right? So now we have the highest law enforcement agent of the country, and people got to ask what's going on with him, right? Bolbert.
Had a couple of beers at a hockey game.
Fair. Thank you, Congresswoman. Are you concerned at all about Cash Patel's drinking as FBI director?
I don't know what Cash Patel does. He says that he's not drinking a lot. I saw one beer at a hockey game. I mean, I've had a couple of beers at a hockey game.
Fair. Thank you, Congresswoman. Are you concerned at all?
Is this the same one that was knocking down brewskis and was seen intoxicated in public? Wow. Giving advice as to how things should be done, right? And a judge dismissed his lawsuit. Oh, he was just knocking down. He was an official business. He was on official business. Cash Patel was on official business, people. And this was him. He decided to sue, and the case got dismissed. This was his video, right? This is what he was doing on official business, right? Supposed to be protecting people, and this is what he was doing. So he was here going crazy at a hockey game, the National, Hockey Association. Like the USA team won, right? The gold medal in the Olympics. And this is what he was doing, right? And this was his crash out session today.
Respond directly.
This was his crash out session today, right?
Where we are today.
Well, I do want to give you an opportunity to respond directly to the allegations in the Atlantic article that your unexplained absences created a national security risk. And beyond that, can you say definitively that you have not been intoxicated or absent during your tenure as FBI director?
I can say unequivocally that I never listened to the fake news mafia.
It's
mafia. And as when they get louder, it just means I'm doing my job. This FBI director has been on the job twice as many days as every director before.
The thing is, he spoke about himself in the third person. Doesn't this drive people crazy? Kash Patel just referred to himself as this FBI director in third person, as if he's not in the room, right? As he's not speaking about himself.
Before me. What that means is I've taken half as many days off as those before me. What that means is I've taken a third less vacation than those before me. What that means is that this FBI with this Department of Justice has dropped the murder rate 20 points. What that means is this FBI with this Department of Justice has captured 8 of the top 10 most wanted fugitives in the world, twice as many as the Biden administration did in its entire 4 years. What that means is this FBI has seized enough fentanyl off the streets to kill 178 million Americans, a 31% increase. What that means is this FBI and this DOJ has arrested 43% more spies in 14 months than the entirety of the Biden administration. What that means is this FBI has seen a reduction in opiate overdose deaths up to 20% alone. What that means is that we have found 6,300 child victims, 6,300 families have their kids back. That is a 22% increase from the Biden administration. I'm on the job. I'm the first one in. I'm the last one out. I'm like an everyday American who loves his country, loves the sport of hockey, and champions my friends when they raise a gold medal and invite me in to celebrate. I've never been intoxicated on the job, and that is why we filed a $250 million defamation lawsuit. And
Which
any
was
one of you that
dismissed.
wants to participate, bring it on. I'll see you in court.
And then he threatened any reporter with an investigation to be investigated or to be part of a lawsuit, right? That he's going to sue any reporter or anyone that covers the story that he drinks on the job, which was an independent story, and a lot of people collaborated on it. So what do you think? They're calling him Crash Patel. He crashes out. He crashes out when people ask any questions about his the way he does things, right? He crashes out. And he was paranoid about Donald Trump possibly firing him, right? He was paranoid about it, right? He was asking people if right. So these are some more questions the reporters asked that got him so pissed off and got him to crash out, right? Some more questions that he was asked that got him to crash out.
What did you think after you were unable to log into the system?
Let's have a survey. How many of you people believe that's true? Hang on.
Did you communicate?
You asked the question. Let me answer it.
No, let me.
No.
So he's saying,
Did you communicate with anyone that you thought you were fired after you?
so it was the Atlantic story that broke it, that he thought he was fired because he couldn't get logged into the computer. He couldn't log into the computer, so he thought he was fired.
You were unable to log into.
The problem with you and your report, don't cut me off. You asked a question.
Straightforward question.
The problem with you and your baseless reporting is that is an absolute lie. It was never said, it never happened, and I will serve in this administration.
You believe him? Crash Patel? Crash Bandicoot is a video game, right? He used to crash a lot. You believe him?
As long as the president and the attorney general want me to do so. And every time you guys report false lies, every time you guys raise baseless questions, when we are here to talk about the Southern poverty.
And he's crashing out again.
Poverty Law Center's $3 million decade-long scheme to fraudulently fleece Americans. You are off topic.
Did you talk to anybody about whether you thought you were fired?
The simple answer to your question is you are lying, and every time you do so, I've answered your question. It's simply as follows. I was never locked out of my systems.
So he's crashing out again with the reporter.
Anyone that says,
and then his lawsuit was thrown out.
Anyone that says the opposite is lying. Thank you.
Ben, stop. You're being extraordinarily rude. And I know maybe that's part of your profession, but please just stop. If you
watch as SPF 50
That was
protection.
bad, right? That was bad. They start to berate him, the reporter that did the story, but guess what? The case was dismissed by a judge as baseless, right? So didn't have to crash out on the reporter as much as they wanted to, and it's a mess. It's just bizarre, right? That they just crash out that easily. These are supposed to be professional law enforcement personnel.
Sure, we have many ongoing.
They call him Crash Patel.
Investigations into large-scale conspiracies.
He served his name right? They're saying he's hard to work with.
After you were unable to.
They're saying he's hard to work with. Crash Patel. Don't crash out on us. Look how empty the room is of reporters. Like, he's pushing them away or what?
Hang informants, and then if there's a statute of limitations issue there, I just wasn't sure how far back we're talking. And then I'll have another on topic.
So look, all I can tell you is the indictment alleges a very long period of time that includes up to 2023. So that's I can't speak beyond, when it, if anything has been happening since then, just what the grand jury found.
And then I also wanted to ask a follow-up on Joe DeGenevieve.
Watch as SPF 50.
It's just bizarre the way they're doing things, right? To me, it's just bizarre that we have these people in leadership. This is bizarre to me, right? Just a little bit of Iran, just to cover a little bit of it. I'm not gonna go into in depth. You want in depth coverage, you go to Hassan Piker. He has the best coverage on the war, right? I'll just cover a little bit of it. So this is John Kerry saying that every president, they try to convince every president to do this, to go jump into this war in Iran. And every president resisted this, and then Trump fell for it, right?
Look into the eyes of parents of young people you're going to send off to fight in your war, and make sure that you have made it clear to them there's a purpose, there's a clarity, you know exactly what the goals are, and you know what you're asking people to sacrifice for.
Yeah.
That did not happen here. So that is a failed test of the presidency.
I think it was.
You got to know why people are going to war, right?
I think
no one just wants to go to war for no reason.
The New York Times reported that Netanyahu personally went into the Situation Room and presented the case why this was the right thing to do. It was reported that he had attempted this with previous administrations. During the Obama administration, where you're Secretary of State, did he make the same case?
Yes.
And what was the response at the time?
No.
And why was that the response? I'm just curious. I assume he's a persuasive individual.
You know, I read the article you're referring to, and the article made it clear that Prime Minister Netanyahu made his case, and they went around the room. People talked a little, but the military was quoted as saying there weren't a lot of questions asked. And at the end of the presentation by Prime Minister Netanyahu, which predicted we're going to have a rebellion, people will, regime change, people take over the country. That was.
And it didn't happen.
Real strength
right?
isn't taking the pain; it's treating it.
So they try to convince other administrations, going back years, to do the same thing. But the other administrations resisted the temptation to listen to Netanyahu. They put the interests of the American people first above everything else, right? Because right now, the war is going horribly for the United States. Iran refused to join peace talks in Pakistan that J.D. Vance was already packed up to go to. And apparently the Secret Service told him that it wasn't safe for him to go, and Donald Trump was going to send him anyway. So the New York Times reports that Iran has a stranglehold over the strait even after the ceasefire. Tehran's attack on shipping are allowing it to ratchet up the pain on the global economy and have strained its leverage in any talks with the U.S. Trump faces May 1 deadline on how he can continue the war. After that date, President Trump will have three choices: seek congressional authorization, wind down operations, or give himself an extension. Those are the only three things he could do because of the War Powers Resolution that that's generally, I don't know how long Congress will allow him to keep bombing or fighting a country. And then, so Iran live update, right? Reported seizure of ships injects new uncertainty over peace talks. Iran's Revolutionary Guard said they had seized 2 ships near the Strait of Hormuz. A Trump spokesman said the president did not view those actions as violating the ceasefire. So he's being soft all of a sudden, or at least Iran sees it as softness. The Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps of Iran said it had seized 2 cargo ships on Wednesday near the contested Strait of Hormuz. Iranian news media reported, adding uncertainty to a ceasefire President Trump extended on Tuesday, hours before it would have expired. The reported seizures, which came after the U.S. Navy denied dozens of ships access to Iranian ports, made clear that despite the efforts to turn the pause in direct hostilities into a lasting peace, neither Iran nor the United States is shying away from trying to exert control over the waterway. So it's just a back and forth. And today, the Navy Secretary resigned. As U.S. wages war, the Navy Secretary decided to exit and leave because most people don't want to deal with Trump. There's a report that he had to be removed from the Situation Room because he really wanted to bomb Iran with a nuclear weapon. And Kane decided that was going to happen and disobeyed Donald Trump's order. So, Navy Secretary John Phelan has departed the Trump administration. The Pentagon announced the shakeup comes just weeks after Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ousted the Army's top general during the ongoing Iran war. Phelan is leaving effective immediately, Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell wrote on X on Wednesday afternoon. We are grateful to Secretary Phelan for his service to the department and the United States Navy, Parnell added. We wish him well in his future endeavors. That's all. That's all we got. So there's a mass exodus of military personnel. Donald Trump is demanding that they do whatever he tells them to do. He doesn't want anyone in there that refuse to listen to him, right? That refuse to listen to him. So the politics right now are crazy, bizarre, all over the place. And we, as leftists, as democratic socialists, have to speak up for the regular people, right? Have to speak up for those people that don't have a voice, the marginalized groups, the poor in the world, the people that don't have an equal chance to be heard or to be listened to across the country, the elderly, the children, the disabled. And we cannot tolerate or stand by while bombs are being dropped on countries. We need an end to this conflict as soon as possible, even if it's embarrassing to Donald Trump, even if it's embarrassing to the United States. We gotta end this because it's costing a lot of money and it's costing a lot of lives, and it's gonna escalate, and it's gonna cost even more lives if we keep fighting this way, the way we're going. Um, Instead of bombs, we should be spending money on education, spending money on technology, spending money on parks, spending money rebuilding this country, building high speed rail service. We need so much We have so much lacking. Our infrastructure is falling down. Our infrastructure needs a lot of help. Our schools are falling apart. There's so much money that could be used instead of spending money on wars and bombs and soldiers. We could use that money, redirect it to improve the lives of everyday American people, to drive the affordability agenda, to make it affordable for every human being on this earth to survive and to live and thrive, right? All around the world, that everyone's able to thrive and enjoy life. But I appreciate you all. I'll be back on maybe tomorrow or maybe earlier, maybe later on. We'll see how I feel. But thank you for joining me. My name is Celso Garcia. Make sure you donate to the Cash App, or I'll give you another option, which is the GoFundMe. I'm raising funds for my case, right? For my case. Um, I'm suing the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, and I would really appreciate if you could all support me in this lawsuit. Um, I really would appreciate it. It's not an easy lawsuit, but I was fired for speaking up, for making saying the way I speak now, right? The way I speak now, the way I'm speaking to you, that's the way I would speak at work. And they don't always appreciate that, right? They don't always appreciate that when you're at work. Um, definitely don't appreciate that when you're at work. They don't like anyone speaking up and saying things the way they should be, right? So this is the fundraiser um, right here. GoFundMe, Celso Garcia. Let me play the video one more time. So, I was terminated. They went after me. These prosecutors, when they take a case, it's a case of like they're very interested in. I wanted to make this video to summarize things for people that are not understanding what's going on. Basically, the MTA hires disciplinary people. I'm Celso Garcia. They hire ex-prosecutors, lawyers to go as hard as possible against regular blue-collar workers. It's no coincidence that Evangeline Byers was terminated. They went after her. Tramal Thompson was terminated. They went after him. I was terminated. They went after me. These prosecutors, when they take a case, it's a case of like they're very interested in people that speak up through social media, through videos, expose the things that the MTA is doing. These are the ones that they go after as hard as possible. It's not a coincidence, people. The MTA uses discipline to make the employees miserable and to make sure that they fall in line and follow their rules, even if they're not safe for people or not the best thing for the public or for the employees. They do as they please, when they please, and they're used to doing this for years. That's my update. Thank you for listening. Have a good day. I'll sign off and make sure you donate to the GoFundMe. Thank you. Yeah, so Make sure you donate to the GoFundMe. Support the channel with Old Man Labor, $ Old Man Labor on Cash App. Thank you so much. I appreciate and forever grateful to all of you for watching the program. Thank you for watching. And this war is not going to end anytime soon. It's going to be a lot of conflict, and it's going to be ongoing conflict and ongoing hate between bad blood between these countries and many other countries that have now been drawn in and pushed in to a war they did not start. So thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. Bump it up, like it, share this live. Do everything you can. Thank you so much to help me out. I appreciate you all. Have a good night. See you soon. See you soon, everyone. I appreciate every single one of you. I appreciate every single one of you. May you have many blessings in your life. Right? May you have a lot of blessings in your life. Thank you so much, everyone.